So I got to play Strayed Lights early, and I'm going to show off some pretty cool gameplay footage and show you kind of all the mechanics around the game. We'll also even talk about some of the details and some of the options, etc. Because I actually have some pretty strong opinions about the game. What's up world, Still here back again with another video, and today we're checking out all things Strayed Lights. And I was actually graciously provided a key by Embers, the developer, and so I was actually able to play a little bit of the game pretty early. But first up, we'll just jump into the settings stuff, because I know some people probably care about the settings and what there is. Now, it does scale all the way to Ultra, of course, and that's what I played on. But I also want to talk about there is the DLSS in this game, and I really do like that. I think that it's good that developers do use DLSS. Now, I will say that I played at native and DLSS. I didn't notice much of a performance increase going to DLSS, so it seems like the title is still fairly optimized and performs fairly well. In fact, I didn't have any issues aside from one tiny little stutter, and that could have been because I was shadow playing. Other than that, the game ran flawless, but there is an option there for DLSS, and it did actually hold up to the original image. There wasn't too much difference from the DLSS to the native, aside from maybe the player character with the shimmering, with the kind of like the shadowy dispersion look. Kind of had a hard time with DLSS. Other than that, it ran great and looked great with DLSS on or off. Now, the rest of the settings are fairly simple. I do hope they add some more mouse settings and things of that nature, but overall, they got most of it there, and you should be pretty covered on any accessibility stuff. Now, I want to start off with the environments, because the environments really do kind of captivate this game in a sort of way that other games sometimes lack at or even succeed at. I would say games like Elden Ring really succeed at their environments. Games like BioShock Infinite or any of the BioShock series really do immerse you into those environments. And with this game, the environments really do pull you into it because it's so drastically different from other games that you've played. It really does have a unique art style with this like pinkish, purplish hue. And the environments, they just look nice. Like, the lighting looks so cool. I kind of like the dark theme to it. Although it still has the like vibrant colors, it's still able to capture the nice vibrancy of the environment while still holding that sort of like dark, shadowy, thriller, kind of almost like scary in a way element to it. Because it's not like all bright and rainbow, but there are sections of it that are like that, very vibrant, and I love that stuff. I absolutely love when games can really pull out the vibrant colors, and this one honestly really does. And especially with the main character. The main character looks so cool. I even thought the little guy looked cool. At the start, you started this like little tiny guy, and then your character kind of evolves into like a normal person, or I guess what you would consider a normal person in this case, like a normal person's size. But it does look really cool, man. The flames and stuff, oh, I always thought that was so cool. I love the flames, and I really like how they did it. I like how they made it super vibrant. And the art direction of this game is actually just kind of gorgeous. I'm really surprised. And on my VA monitor, the colors just look absolutely incredible. And I'm not just saying that, like they really do. I really do enjoy the colors of this game. It really kind of like, it was very easy on my eyes. Like it wasn't like too bright or anything. It was very easy to like look at, and it wasn't jarring. And the music, and this honestly was like more so a relaxing kind of game, although it still had like fun action-packed elements, but it just kind of felt like chilled back overall, just in a sense of like my mind and my mood. With the music and everything, it really is kind of like relaxing with the ambience. Now, it's still action-packed, and we'll get onto the combat here, because the combat is actually very thrillerish, and it does kind of get your heart racing with certain things, because the movesets are very either delayed or very fast. It's kind of like got that Elden Ring aspect to it as far as like the attacks, how the attacks go, and especially not just to compare to Elden Ring, but the boss sizes. I love when games can do these huge bosses and they make these like ginormous bosses. Man, they really did the bosses quite well in this. And I only really got to fight the two. There's one at the very beginning that kind of helps you learn the combat, and there's another one at like kind of the end, sort of like middle section as well. But I really did enjoy that combat style where it kind of showcases these overarching world gods that are like these bosses, and there's these huge guys, or like this huge animal that's in front of you that's just kind of like smashing down at you. I really like when it puts things into perspective like that, and it kind of just flowed well, especially with the combat there. It actually felt really good, whereas I didn't feel like I needed to attack a certain portion of the model or try to reach for the hitbox, or when it was attacking me, I wouldn't be able to parry. Speaking about the parrying and all that stuff, I really did enjoy it. Now, at first, I was having a hard time. It might be more of a console title as far as like the control scheme goes. I was having difficulties at first when I had it on E to switch my colors, which is essentially what you have to do. You have to switch colors when the mob is attacking you, and if you switch the colors, you're able to parry and gain energy, and the energy allows you to eliminate the mob. But you can also attack the mob. Now, I didn't didn't know this at the beginning, so I was kind of just parrying at the start, but you can actually attack back, and you do get some skill points later on that will allow you to do different unique things. But as you're blocking these attacks and parrying back and forth, you have to swap the colors, and for me, it was a little bit odd to swap colors with the E key, so I ended up switching it to the mouse button, and it made it just a 10 times better experience. But again, that was probably just on my end, using the keyboard and not setting my key buttons, just kind of using default. So I would recommend, if you do end up playing this game, if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, I would throw your switching color button to something that you're used to pushing a lot. Now, the E key is right there. It was just kind of different to use it quite often like that. So I really enjoyed it on my mouse button, so I would switch that, and that's kind of like a tip. Other than that, the combat fluidity actually felt a lot of fun, and it almost reminiscent or kind of reminded me of Hi-Fi Rush. If you played that game recently, I actually thoroughly enjoyed Hi-Fi Rush. I didn't beat it, and I probably will go back to it and play the rest of it, but I was enjoying the combat. The storyline was actually pretty good, and I just love how they shadow dropped that game. They did it really well, and so this game is kind of reminiscent of that with rhythming and parrying and getting it kind of all down. So if you enjoyed Hi-Fi Rush and you enjoyed the kind of the color scheme of that game, this game is also kind of like that, but it's like otherworldly different as far as the color scheme goes, so it's almost kind of like a polar opposite as far as the color scheme and the kind of environment. Hi-Fi Rush kind of offered this like high-spirited game, whereas you can play this type of rhythm game and fluid combat style where it's kind of like a mystery and more of like shadowy kind of darkness theme to it. So I like how they have those contrasting colors, and it's not the exact same, but kind of offers a similar experience. Now, as far as storyline goes, there wasn't any voice acting, but it honestly still captivated everything. They actually did it really well for the no voices, and I kind of like that. It was very, like I said, very calming game. It wasn't like obtrusive to your ears. The music, the ambience was very nice. Even the cutscenes were actually really well done. Everything about them, it just kind of made sense. Like, you could kind of make sense of what was happening. At first, there was kind of like mystery and questioning, but I like that stuff. At least I like those elements that kind of make you think about things and kind of take into account like what is going on and kind of reminisce or remember back to a certain thing like, oh, okay, so that's why that happened. Not just kind of lay everything out to you. I like when games leave that open-ended thought. And this game really does. It kind of had that magical twist at the end where you're fighting this big guy, and eventually he kind of, after you defeat him, he turns into like back to his original self is what I would assume. After he kind of pets, he was too big and didn't understand what he was doing, I don't think, and he was kind of playing with the animals, and he was playing with them like toys. Because he was so big, he thought they were like toys. And then until he met somebody our size, he realized that no, these are animals and these are delicate creatures. And then afterward, he turns into a normal person size like us. It's kind of like a nice, heartfelt, wholesome scene there. Even though it has those like mysterious kind of thriller themes to it, it still has that nice uplifting feel. And I did thoroughly enjoy my experience. And so I want to thank Embers for providing me with a key and allowing me to try this actually beautiful game quite early. But that is about cover for today's video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. And until the next, deuce.